Hello, welcome to Tuesday's tarot tutorial video. Today I would like to talk about the tarot cards that represent the planets in astrology, with an emphasis on the spiritual aspect of the moon in this particular video. This is the second part of a three-part video series, so go ahead and watch the first one if you haven't already, and I will upload the last video next week. As I talked about in the previous video titled The Planetary Cards Part 1 Are Cosmic Parents, the moon card is traditionally a crazy and volatile energy. It was traditionally read as a card that would indicate enemies, bad omens, and cataclysmic events before it morphed into a new agey interpretation of feelings and romance. And although I am not discounting those meanings because they are also relevant, this card definitely has a harsher tone than some tarot readers now like to acknowledge. In part 1 of the planetary cards, I talked about how the sun is our cosmic father and the moon is our cosmic mother. I also touched on the concepts related to the moon's intensity as seen in the Tower, Death, High Priestess, Hierophant, and Justice cards. So to recap, the moon card can mean natural disasters or cataclysmic events. In the moon card, we do see these two towers. It is rather tragic, actually, how this can be literally translated to the devastating event of New York's Twin Towers in the 9/11 catastrophe. In the Tower card, we literally see two people being ejected from the tower as lightning strikes out from the sky, impacting the building here. Anyway, that is not the focus of this video, just an interesting and relatable side note. Because the south node of the moon, which is called Ketu in Vedic astrology, indicates the essence of non-attachment, I wanted to talk about the spiritual aspect of the tower representing non-attachment. This is a common term that is now tossed around casually, originating from Buddhist and Hindu philosophy. There is a common misconception of detachment or non-attachment as a state which a person overcomes their desire for things, people, and concepts of this world, therefore by severing relationships and having to live apart from society. This can be misconstrued as apathy or escapism. So it's also good to keep in mind a healthy perspective of detachment would be just not attaching to any outcomes and keeping in mind that everything here is temporary. The karmic south node of the moon Ketu represents the Tower card. And I wanted to talk about the High Priestess card as well to show you the card that represents the moon other than the moon card itself. This is because she has a crescent moon at her feet and she is very energetically lunar. The High Priestess embodies the state of non-attachment from physical desires. She is represented as a nun, a virgin, a sacred whore, a temple priestess, a female oracle, witch, mystic, saint, yogini, psychic, occultist, or spiritual advisor. And really, however she demonstrates her role, she reveals her secret scroll that she has here in her lap, as you can see kind of subtly. She reveals this scroll of esoteric knowledge only to true seekers of wisdom and truth. She is the embodiment of non-attachment and also elevated consciousness to evolved higher levels of spirituality and non-attachment. So in astrology, Ketu, the south node of the moon, is the spiritual energy of separation, which can also be likened to the High Priestess because she has no attachment to worldly pursuits. In the Tower card, we see the figures being, separated from this tower, which the tower itself represents industry of wealth that people have amassed in the physical world of gain and achievement of power and status. Like I had mentioned in the part 1 video, the sun and the moon are our cosmic parents. We have the father sun and the mother moon, which create and sustain life on Earth. The orbit of the moon creates the calendar for the month, and the orbit of the Earth around the sun creates the calendar for the year. The spirituality of the Lunar High Priestess card can be seen from both the sun and moon cards, particularly with the sacred calculations of astrology. The spiritual and sacred number 108 in astrology is found from our cosmic parents, the sun and the moon. This is because the distance from the Earth to the moon ends up being 108 moon lengths, while mysteriously the distance from the Earth to the sun ends up also being 108 sun lengths. The sacred mathematics of astrology doesn't end there with 108, however. Which brings me to my next point of what I would like to talk about, which is Saturn, as represented by the World card. Saturn, like all the planets except for the sun and the moon, goes retrograde from the Earth's perspective. Saturn stations retrograde 108 degrees from the sun. Also, the moon transits through each of the 12 sun signs created by the sun. In Vedic astrology, there are 27 moon signs, also known as lunar mansions or nakshatras. These 27 nakshatras are divided into 4 parts called padas or feet. These 4 parts times the 27 lunar mansions comes out to 108 padas in total. This is why there are 108 prayer beads on a mala. So going back to the planet Saturn, as seen in the World card, it's the last card in the major arcana. As we see, this is marked as number 21, which is the last card in the series from the Fool to the Worlds. Being that it is the last card in the major arcana, it signifies completions and endings, much like the energy of Saturn itself. Saturn is the last classical planet in astrology as the outermost planet. Saturn takes about 28 years to fully orbit the zodiac. As the outermost planet, its connection is with the innermost planet, the moon, which takes 28 days to orbit around the Earth. These are just some of the secrets the moon holds that I have shared with you in this tutorial. So thank you for watching this particular video. I hope you found this information useful and enjoyable. Thanks for liking and sharing this video and for subscribing to my channel.